Welcome to Dodgers Dogs. As part of the Dodgers Daily Network, Casey Porter here. Let me actually turn that down a little bit. Casey Porter here, and so glad that you decided to tune in. I'm out here, so let me go ahead and turn this up just for a second, and we will get after it. So let me do this just for a second, and we will talk some Dodgers baseball, and we will go from there. Okay, so there we go. I think that audio is good there. So welcome to Dodgers Dogs. As part of the Dodgers Daily Network, Casey Porter here. So glad you decided to tune in on a day after a victory that the Dodgers just absolutely had to have. So proud of Tyler Glasnow. I have been, going to put this point blank, not super excited about, just some of the situations with Glasnow this year. Seemed like, the Dodgers really needed him, had to scratch him last time out. Ohtani had to pitch for him earlier in the year. Couldn't deal with the rain. It just seemed like we were making excuses. The injury deal has been frustrating for him to go out and throw 7 innings last night. Now, the leadoff walk to give up the first run to get the Dodgers behind 1-0 was not ideal, but again, I think that's nitpicking because of the way that he finished. And then also, hey, we talked on our last show on Sunday night with Coach Barikoff about just, I was disappointed. Of course, you're Dodgers fans and you're paying these people a lot of money to perform, and when they don't, they don't. But I'll say this, Blake Treinen's a little bit different because of what he's meant to this organization, what he has done for the Dodgers, what he did to win the World Series last year. He's dealt with injury this year. It just felt terrible to watch him fail like he did on Sunday night, and then to watch his post-game interview was just heartbreaking. And so to see Dave get him right back out on the mound, to watch him go 1, 2, 3 like he did, that was satisfying beyond just watching the Dodgers win a baseball game. No doubt about that. That was very enjoyable. Where do you get a hat like that, says Seabad? These are actually hats that I had produced by a local establishment here in Stillwater, Oklahoma, called Dupree. So if you'd like a hat like this, I have to order them in a dozen. So if I can get a dozen ordered, I can actually go to Dupree's and get another dozen ordered, and I can send you one if you would like one. So let me know if you want one. I can get a dozen ordered up like that, and we can go. So from a personal perspective, last night was very satisfying because it felt like you exercised a lot of demons, at least for me, for Tyler Glasnow. You got past the injury that kept him out last time out. You got past some of the earlier frustrations in the season, and he became a workhorse, not just a talented guy on the mound that we know has incredible extension, an amazing fastball, a huge curveball, and a guy that's talented, but he became a guy last night that looked like a workhorse. You got past the Blake Treinen thing. I just love the fact that he got right back out on the mound, got to get that Sunday outing out of his system, and made things simple last night. And then Tanner Scott, okay? So, yes, Tanner Scott gave up the leadoff double. That's not good. The tying run came to the plate. Dodgers fans started booing him, of which I'm different. You can have a different opinion on this as well. By the way, I have the link to the show in the chat there. So if you want to join the show, go ahead and click that link and come on in. I'm by myself. You guys just know by now that I don't like being by myself. I have a limited amount of time, probably about 30 minutes here to talk live. So if you want to get in on the show, come on in. Let's get her done, and let's do that. So I think I'm actually chopping my head off here. I need to back up just a touch. And, yeah, right there. Let me do that right there. And let me move my microphone to me again. I'm on a little bit different of a setup, so you'll have to excuse me for those kinds of things. So Tanner Scott gave up the leadoff double. That's not good, obviously. And Dodgers fans started booing. I'm a little bit different. You can have a different opinion of me. That's absolutely great. But these guys get paid a lot. They demand a lot of money to provide their services. They have agents. They make things not easy for clubs to sign them. There's a reason why Tanner Scott signed with the Dodgers and not the Pirates, and that would be money, right? I mean, that's just the name of the game. And I'm not saying that's bad on Tanner Scott's part. I'm not saying that that's not what he shouldn't be doing. I'm saying that is what he did do, and rightfully so. In return, as a fan, I have an expectation for that guy to perform the way that he is gotten paid to perform. Tanner Scott has not done that. And so for that reason, if you want to take the money, you got to take all of the expectations that come with it. I think fans were partly booing Dave Roberts for putting Tanner Roberts back in that situation as much as they were booing Tanner Scott. I don't have a problem with either one of them. Hey, you know that I've managed and coached baseball my whole life. I defend Dave Roberts, but I will also say, and I have said many different times, if you're going to be the manager of the Los Angeles Dodgers and you're going to enjoy hoisting the World Series trophy twice in the last 5 years, if you're going to enjoy having Shohei Ohtani as your leadoff hitter, if you're going to enjoy having Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Tyler Glasnow, Blake Snell, Shohei Ohtani, Emmett Sheehan, Clayton Kershaw as your starters, if you're going to enjoy Mookie Betts as your shortstop and 2-hole, if you're going to enjoy Freddie Freeman as your 3-hole, Will Smith as your catcher, and all these guys, if you're going to enjoy the fruits of all of that, then you also have to be able to deal with the pressure that comes with being the Los Angeles Dodgers manager. So if your team's not performing and you continue to put out somebody like Tanner Scott or Michael Conforto that has not been producing, although Conforto has been producing as of late, and you get booed, that's just what comes with the territory. Put on your big boy pants, do exactly what Tanner Scott did last night, put on your big boy pants, get over it, and perform. That's what Tanner Scott did. So the way that the same way that the fans gave Mookie Betts a standing ovation, that standing ovation was to send a message to him, whether it was more of a positive way to send it, but it was a way to send a message of, hey, you're struggling. We're not getting out of you what we're paying you, what we expect out of you. So we are going to do as fans what we feel like we need to do at this moment to get that type of performance out of you. That's the same concept as a boo. It's just one way is going about it in a more positive way, another way is getting out of a negative way. A boo is saying, we aren't getting what we want out of you. We demand more. Now go do it. And to Tanner Scott's credit, he absolutely did. And that goes to the point we talked about this. I know Austin talked about it last night. We talked about this on Sunday. You can't convince me that the best version of this Dodgers team doesn't have Tanner Scott throwing to his capabilities, okay? Now, are we out of the process part of this? That can be debated, but I don't think it can be debated that the best version of this team has Tanner Scott in it and throwing well. So for Dave to continue to throw him back out there, that's a choice on Dave that he is going to have to live with. It's a big picture choice. Last night it worked. It might end up blowing up in his face, and if it does, he will have opened himself up to criticism that he will just have to stomach and take. But for a big picture perspective, Tanner Scott throwing as well as he can is part of the best version of this team. And another part of the best version of this team is that the starting pitching, we've been saying this for a long time now, okay? I said it on my post on Sunday's game. I've said it several different times during this period where the Dodgers are struggling. No doubt about it. Hey, why don't you go ahead and log in? I put the link to the show in the chat there. Click that and come on in and help me as a co-host here, and let's have a good time. Is that the hat hanger is your starting pitching. Not just starting pitching, but just going longer. So Tyler Glasnow going 7 last night. Yoshinobu Yamamoto, what he's been able to do lately, although he can't buy a break. I mean, what does Yoshinobu Yamamoto need to do to win a game? Clayton Kershaw, the greatness that he has shown. No doubt about that. So the one thing that you've been able to hang your hat on, typically speaking, has been starting pitching. And what we've been saying here at Dodgers Dawgs as part of the Dodgers Daily Network for a long time, hang your hat on the starting pitching until the offense can come around. Mookie Betts has come around as of late. I want to get into his comments here in a minute. Mookie Betts in his last 15 games is hitting 280, which is great, but it's more than just the 280. It's the clutch hits like he had last night. It's the slug like we've seen the pull side power him come up with as of late. Mookie Betts' OPS is 948 in the last 15 games. Shohei Ohtani last 15 games, 286, OPS 11. So the formula, until you can get the offense to come around, until the best version of this in every aspect comes to the forefront, which the best version would be you have the best starting pitching in baseball, you have a very competent bullpen that you spent a lot of money on in the offseason, and you have what was the best offense in baseball all the way until about July. So you have the talent and the pieces in place to be the best offense in baseball. You have the talent in place and the pieces in place to have the best starting pitching in place. You have pieces in place in the bullpen that have had experience in the World Series. Tanner Scott was one of the best closers in the game last year. You have the pieces to have an extremely good bullpen, okay? So you hang your hat on the starting pitching until every part of this comes around, reaches its potential, and creates the best version of itself. Last night, in many ways, was that formula. Now, we saw the night before it didn't work because the bullpen, specifically Blake Trinan, Tanner Scott, gave up the lead. We've blown 23 different not blown saves, but blown leads in games. And a part of that is because you stop scoring. But still, so the way that you fix that is you go longer as a starter. You make it to where you have fewer innings to cover as a reliever. And then Blake Trinan, super competitive dude. This is why you trust Blake Trinan. So what did Blake Trinan not do on Sunday that he did last night? He threw strikes last night. He threw 11 pitches, 8 were strikes. So at all costs last night, at the very least, what Tanner Scott was going to do last night was the one adjustment he was going to make was that he was at least going to give himself a chance by throwing the ball in the strike zone and trusting that his stuff was good enough to get out the Rockies hitters. And he did that. He didn't walk anybody. He went 1, 2, 3, and he threw 8 strikes out of 11 pitches. So if you just need to know anything about the mentality of Blake Trinan, which if you do, you haven't been paying attention to him or the Dodgers almost at all here as of late, notice the adjustment he made. He put the ball in the strike zone. He gave himself a chance, and because of that, he was able to be successful. And then also, the Dodgers have gotten back Max Muncy. As a matter of fact, there was a stat given last night about Max Muncy that was awesome. Joe gave it on the broadcast. With Max Muncy in the lineup, the Dodgers are first in runs scored in the league. Without him, they are 26th. That's not just the addition of Max Muncy. It's the snowball effect. So if you put Max Muncy in the 5 hole, that puts Will Smith in the 4 hole. And so it has a cascading effect to where it allows everybody to kind of be where they're supposed to be. It makes everybody else around him better. It's like if you move Mookie Betts to right field, now you got to find a shortstop. Now you're trying to fill in 2 different positions for one. So Max Muncy's the opposite. You not just the production of Max Muncy, it also allows everybody else to go back into the spot in the lineup where they are best suited, most comfortable. Then they become better players, and now your offense is better overall. So the addition of Max Muncy hopefully will be a big boost for this offense. It was great to see this offense score late. It was great to see the big hit from Mookie Betts. It was great to see the wonderful start from Tyler Glasnow. It was great to see Blake Trinan throw strikes, trust his stuff, make the adjustment that he needed to make from his failure on Sunday. And it was great to see Tanner Scott deal with the boo birds that, quite frankly, he had coming. Deal with the boo birds that, quite frankly, Dave Roberts had coming. Okay? Put on his big boy pants and get through the last 3 outs and win the game for the Dodgers. I'm going to say this very clear. Austin said it very well last night. It's been our theme since, I don't know, every game the Dodgers win. So it is a broken record because we've been saying this a lot. Nothing matters to this point because your entire season is in front of you. So it's not like the Dodgers have been so bad that they're in 5th place and they have no chance to make the playoffs. The Dodgers have been at least floaty enough. They've stayed afloat enough to where they're still in 1st place. Yes, they're in the wild card, but they're going to host a wild card. They still have a chance to not even be a part of the wild card. It's going to be tough to catch the Phillies, but they have a chance to do it. Your entire season is in front of you. So what's happened in the past, because the Dodgers are still in first place, because they still are in a position to win the World Series, they don't have to dwell on the past because the past hasn't buried them. So why go back into the past? Let's focus on the future. Let's focus on the fact that the starting pitching is a hat hanger. Let's focus on the fact that Blake Trinan made some good adjustments last night. Let's focus on the fact that Tanner Scott had a good outing. Let's focus on the fact that Jack Dreyer has been awesome. Let's focus on the fact that since about his first 4 outings, Justin Robleski has been awesome. We're getting Alex Vesia back. Let's focus on that. Let's focus on the fact that we got Max Muncy back. And when Max Muncy has been in the lineup, we've been number 1 in runs scored. Let's focus on the fact that we're going to get Will Smith back, Alex Vesia, Tommy Edman, and that this team is going to be full throttle coming down the stretch. And if this team plays as well as it's capable of which it hasn't done since about May, this team still is probably the best roster in all of baseball. Let's focus on that. That's what I'm focusing on right now versus focusing on all the stuff that happened in the past, because, again, you don't have to focus on that because, again, it didn't bury you. You have played at least well enough to make it to where you can just turn the page and look and focus on what's going to happen in the future. So those are kind of my opening thoughts to last night's game. Super proud of several different parts of what happened last night. And, hey, boy, we have a great crowd logged in. I want to get to some of the thoughts here. I am pretty limited on time, so this might be like a 20, 30-minute type of live video, but I want to get on here and talk to you wonderful Dodgers dogs and get a video out there and kind of give my thoughts on what's going on here. Okay, so Racy Auto Parts, at the beginning of the season when the Dodgers had the broken baseball and when everyone was freaking out, I had a gut feeling that we would win around 92 games. 92 seems like a lot now. I don't think they're going to reach 90. Maybe they will. Maybe that would mean that they got hot, and that would mean that it's a situation to where actually, yeah, it'd be a situation where they got hot. So let me actually bring in Bruce here, and let's get him in. I actually am going to have to do this on, hey, what's up, Bruce? Let me get this. I'm going to have to do this on well, I don't know if I'm going to be, Bruce, this is going to have to be just a audio call, if that's okay with you. So, yeah, I'm on a remote setup, so let's do audio call only, and let's go from there. Bruce, what's going on, man? Good, man. What's on your mind today? Hold on a second, Bruce. I got to get your audio up here. Give me a second here. 1 second here. This is the amateur hour at Dodgers Dogs as part of the Dodgers Day. Okay, go ahead. Let me unmute that. Go ahead, Bruce. We got you now.
Okay. So, I just heard what you said. I just come in and I heard what you said. And, we can be pissed off. We can be mad. I was. But it's not going to do any of us any good. We've got, this is our team. This is what it is. And if you're a true Dodger fan, win or lose. This team, we all know, can win. And I believe that once they're healthy, there's still several weeks left. Guys can get healthy. Guys can get reps. The bullpen, I still think we've got guys like Dreyer and the guys that we've had all season long that helped us, all right, that stepped up. If we've got to trust, that's all we can do is trust. When I hear people yelling about firing Dave Roberts, that's the dumbest thing I heard Sunday. I just don't get it, Casey. I don't understand. Why? Why are you talking about firing a guy that's won 2 World Series?
Understood, but you also have to understand fans are short for fanatics, right? And
yes, sir.
It's an emotion. That's a good thing, Bruce. Let me put it to you this way. I was a head coach for a long time, and I would much rather take parents that chew my ass out about every other day, that are very passionate about their kids, passionate about the program, than I would take parents that just didn't care at all, right? So the way that I see that, the way Dave's going to see that is, hey, these are fans that care, they're passionate, and that's why Dodgers fans are so great, is because we have so much passion. It's just that sometimes as fans we're fanatics.
And and the same thing when I umpired.
Yes,
I would much rather, have somebody scream at me and say I'm the worst, which I have. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's their opinion, but we as fans care. We care about the Dodgers.
Absolutely.
We want them to win. And
because of that, we have a certain
can do
standard, which is why I don't care about the boos last night. They were holding Dave Roberts to a standard. They were holding Tanner Scott to a standard. And guess how Tanner Scott responded to that, right?
Yeah. And look, Blake Trinan after what happened. Look what did he do last night? He did a 1-2-3.
Damn right.
We know this guy can pitch, all right, and we know this guy. This guy in Walker Buehler helped us. Remember that. Blake Trinan is the one that helped our team last year in high leverage, in the 9th inning, the 10th inning, whatever it was. This guy was there. He was there for us Dodger fans. He helped us. And yeah, we can be mad and that's fine. But we also can do this. Let's put all of our energy into these good things that we do. Let's look at the little positive things, okay? If Dave Roberts screws up tonight, then Dave Roberts screws up tonight. People can say what they want. But let's start doing it little by little, because that's what's helping me as a fan.
Right.
The little things. That's it.
Which that's the biggest complaint I think that fans have a big reason to be so upset with, Bruce, is that for the longest time, this team was throwing the ball the wrong base. They were striking out too much. They were making base running mistakes. It actually was the little things that this team was doing wrong that was making guys like me and fans like me the most upset.
Well, and I was upset too. And I mean, what can you do, man? These guys are professional athletes. I don't care if it was when we signed Buddy Kennedy. That guy couldn't hit a lick if he tried. But when the guy was out on defense, he made a couple of plays for us. I understand. We have a right to be upset, and we have a right to, because we're passionate.
Sure.
All right. I have no complaints about that. But we have got to, as fans, appreciate.
Yes,
because
I agree.
We know this team. We've won, and if we don't win, we don't win. We've got a team that's going to be there. Let's just, we could be like the Orioles or somebody, or Pittsburgh, where they're never there.
Yeah.
So
agreed.
would you rather be in that position or 100%. Be in the position that we are?
That's
going to the playoffs.
That's a statement I made the other day. Hey, the Dodgers have won 2 out of the last 5 World Series. They're in first place right now. The farm system's one of the best in all of baseball. Now, I understand that certain games, and it's been frustrating since July 4th and all that. But at the same time, you have to just kind of back up a little bit. You got to go, well, this front office and this organization has been elite. It's been the best organization in baseball for about 10 years now, right? I mean, or at least one of them. And so you have to respect that and at least appreciate that part of it. And so that put it in that perspective alongside your frustration and kind of create a whole picture from there.
And I look at too, like people were talking about the trade deadline. It would have been great if we could have got guys. But what happens if we got guys? Okay, say the Dodgers front office, and they've done a great job. Say they went out and got Duran and Jax or somebody, or they got Duran and then they got somebody else. What happens if those guys are blowing saves in the 9th inning? What if those guys get hurt again? So what are we're going to complain? Oh, we traded for these guys. We ended up shipping a bunch of our guys away. All right, in our farm system. And these guys blow it. So any way you look at it, I believe that the guys in the bullpen, I know that there's guys. Dreyer has been doing it all season long. It may not look pretty, but the guy is there. You can count on him. We can count on our guys.
Bruce. I wanted to let the chat know I just hid Team Ruiz from the channel, so we won't have to deal with any of his dumbass comments anymore. So there you go. Okay. Keep going, Bruce. You're doing great, man. I'm enjoying this.
It's what it is. I'm happy as a Dodger fan because we're there, and I don't care if we have to play in a wild card, but we got plenty of games. If we continue to keep, this little momentum here, we won last night. It wasn't pretty, but we won. At the end of the game is that it's about winning. I don't care how they win it. I don't care who's in there pitching as long as we can get the last 3 outs. That's what I want. I want this team to keep playing hard, and we all know this team can play hard. All right. And I know Casey, as being a coach a long time, he's been through these kind of things, ups and downs. 100%. And we're human. These guys are human.
I've
They're not
also had
robots.
seasons that never got corrected, and at the end of the year, you're just like, damn, I'm glad that's over. I mean, I've had that experience too. And that's the way this season might end, Bruce. But that doesn't, but at the end of the year, I didn't doubt, like, okay, well, I'm a shitty coach or this or that. None of that got doubted. It just was, man, if you're in this for half a decade, then crap like that happens. And that literally might end up the way that this year ends. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to think any less of Dave. I'm going to think any less of Freddie. Or now you still have to evaluate what's good and what's not. But having said that, sometimes that does happen. So there are no guarantees.
And that's the thing is we have to live for the day. We've got today. We've got a game, and I don't care who's on the schedule. We've got to play. We got to play hard. We got to play Dodger baseball. If we play Dodger baseball and we do the right things, look, even this catcher that we have, I was like, who the heck is this guy?
Rortvedt has been a very fundamental player, right? Like, he's the perfect type of role player because he does all the small details and fundamentals properly. That's all you can ask out of a role player, right?
Listen, I love the guy. The guy, you know what, says I can't hit right now. So guess what? I'm going to bunt. And he's done great.
And walk.
He almost got a no-hitter.
Yeah, he did.
He's
blocking the balls in the dirt. Yeah, man.
He's fast too. So if he gets on, he's quick, man. That's another thing about this Dodger team. We got guys like Kim that are fast. We had Dean. He's fast. We got this catcher. If he gets on, man, he is quick.
Yeah.
And we need some speed. We need some youth for these older guys. All right. That's what I think we need is some youth, some younger guys to push these guys to where these guys can get back to that level. Yeah. Nobody's saying that Freddie Freeman's going to do better and Mookie's going to do better than Ohtani. But you know what? We expect these guys because they're our stars. All right. But we also need everybody. It's a team sport. We need every single one of our guys, whatever it may be. If you're the last guy, like the catcher, and if you have to bunt somebody in, you bunt somebody in. And I got to say, before I do go, I have been the most critical on Rojas, and I'm going to tell you something. I love that man.
Yeah.
That man
he's a dog.
Has turned me around.
Is he a great player? Not a great player, but he's a great role player, and he has a dog mentality.
We have a coach out there, out in the infield, in the infield. Mm-hmm. So remember that we have a coach, even though he's still a player. We got a coach. He knows what's going on. So
absolutely.
All right. Thank you, Casey. You guys all have a good, wonderful day, okay?
Bruce, you are a great fan, man. What a great fan you are. Thank you, Bruce. Really appreciate that. And as Bruce logs off, that opens up the line. I'm going to put the link right there if you want to join, and it's going to be audio only today, so there will be no video if you join. But come on in and be a co-host of this show, and let's get after it. Yes, I agree, Lifted. Ben Rortvedt has been great behind the plate, and who would have thunk it that of all of the trade deadline acquisitions, Ben Rortvedt would have made the biggest impact of any of them, right? I mean, well, Alex Call, I guess you could make an argument, but Ben Rortvedt has done a great job filling in when the Dodgers needed him. Yes, Team Ruiz, I jetted his ass, so and no worries about that. Hey, Seabad says Doc is Hall of Fame material. He will never be fired. Doc now lives in Lasorda's shadow and bleeds Dodger blue. I would agree. I don't know about the never. There's a saying in coaching that you get hired to get fired, so I will never say never about that. But I agree. He is definitely Hall of Fame material. Craig Osterberg says pitchers have slumps and take the negativity, turn it into positivity. So there's an old saying in baseball. I learned this from Coach Dave's, they taught this in the Cardinal system in the 80s. Okay, if you notice the way I compare a lot of times the Dodgers culture and the way they do things now to the culture and the way that the Dodgers did the Cardinals did things in the 80s. Not in style of play, because that Cardinals team, they like bat to ball, they like to steal bases, they like the speed aspect, where the Dodgers are more slug. So not in style of play, but in culture. Okay, everything's positive. Everything's about, hey, we're not going to dwell on the past. We're going to move forward into the future. You're never going to have a negative interaction with people. It's the most positive culture I've ever been around, and I love it. I mean, every time I'm around it, I'm in heaven because I'm around people that are just like me in terms of the way they think and how you react to other people. Now, if you want to be an asshole, they're going to go ahead and kick your ass out pretty fast, which that tends to also mirror the way that I do things as well. So one thing that I learned a couple things I learned from Eddie that he learned while playing with the Cardinals is that there's an old saying that says you turn frustration into motivation. So if somebody's booing you, if you're failing, if you're having something that like you struck out or whatever, and you're frustrated, then use that as motivation to work harder. Use that as motivation to want to do better. Turn that frustration into motivation. And there's two phrases that the Cardinals would never let any of their players or managers end a sentence with. I put this rule, Eddie and I both put this rule in whenever we were coaching here at Guthrie, and that is do not finish a sentence with come on, or start a sentence with come on, or don't say let's go. Because if you think about it in a sporting element, when you hear a manager or a coach say come on, what type of connotation is that? It's come on, man, right? It's come on. So it's always a negative connotation, or let's go. I mean, sometimes you'll hear like a player say let's go, like it's a let's get pumped up. But typically speaking, when you hear a manager or coach say that the phrase let's go, it's almost always in a negative connotation. So frustration into motivation, eliminate the phrases come on, eliminate the phrase let's go. And what you'll find is you have to find alternative things to say. And typically speaking, those alternative things to say are much more constructive than just negative connotated phrases like that. So that's how the Dodgers operate. That's how I operate. Yes, Bruce did a wonderful, wonderful job. Hey, Ray Velasquez, thank you so much for joining. Well, we're actually going to, let's see. Yeah. Well, we're going to go ahead and hide Ray Velasquez from this channel as well. Like I said, I don't usually argue with people. I just jet their ass, and that's what's going to happen there when you make dumb comments like that. B.L. Boyd, health does not fix extremely poor hitting philosophies and technique, which we've had for years. That's why we have been so piss poor in extra innings since the inception of the ghost runner. Well, and also even before that, the Dodgers struggled mightily in extra inning games way before the placed runner. So I'm not going to push back against that, B.L. Boyd. I would say the Dodgers, I wouldn't say it's a piss poor philosophy. I would say it's a philosophy that's built for the big picture, the long run. It's built for 162. It's not built for short increments because it's not based on executing winning baseball plays. So I would prefer, I think, if you watch Dodgers Dawgs as part of the Dodgers Daily Network, I talk all the time. I love the slug, but you got to be able to execute in the late innings, and that's what B.L. Boyd is saying here. I don't want an offense that I don't want the 1980s Cardinals offense where you never hit home runs unless you're Jack Clark or Pedro Guerrero. I don't want that offense either, but I want an offense that can execute in the late innings, maybe at the beginning of the game to get the first run, execute winning baseball plays, which I think is what B.L. Boyd is referring to. And then another thing, here's my biggest criticism of the Dodgers offensive philosophy. They have a philosophy, and each given night it either works or it doesn't, and it just doesn't seem like if their philosophy that night is not working, it just either seems like either they don't make adjustments at all or they're way too slow to make adjustments, and by that time they've given themselves almost no chance to win the game at that point. So I would say just they're too married to their philosophy. It's too extreme. I think it's too big picture, and because of that, they're late to the party in making adjustments. That would be my biggest. That would be probably my biggest criticism of the Dodgers' offensive philosophy and offensive system as far as that goes. So we have we have a great crowd logged in. Let me get back to some of the chat up here. Seabad question: do you think Pages has a chance to catch the Orioles home run that cost Yamamoto a no-hitter? I still say Pages had zero chance of playing it off the wall was the correct play. That's a tough one. I can tell you this: if it's a no-hitter, I'm running into the wall. I'm falling. It's an optics thing. So it's more than just, okay, the smart baseball play was to limit the damage on the play. There was a 0% chance of him catching the ball. But I'll say this, as brothers, the optics is I'll take a bullet for you, right? So kind of the bullet there would be I'm going to do everything I can to, on a personal level, do my best to make sure your no-hitter stays intact. So I think Andy Pages made the right baseball decision in terms of what was the best decision to win the game. I think from a brother perspective, like, I got your back, bro. I would have liked to have seen him go balls to the wall and do whatever he had to take. Give the optics of, I'm willing to run into a wall and do what it takes for my brother. I would prefer those optics. Although I do agree with you, Seabad, that I think the best baseball play to win that game was to play it off the wall that he did. Pocket Rude Boy, thank you so much for joining. Say what you want about Manny and Fernando, but their ignorance gives them crazy confidence that the Dodgers don't have and generate from their skills. But when it's not clicking, they look defeated. I totally agree. Manny Machado definitely is that way. Hey, shout out to Teo for 2024, but he really doesn't have any place in this team anymore. I can't really just push back right there. What would be the pushback? What pushback would I give about Teo Hernandez? He has not been good offensively. I don't think his hustle factor has been overly impressive. As a matter of fact, I think his hustle factor has been one that has opened him up for criticism. And then he hasn't hit home runs, and he hasn't been a great offensive player. So what has he provided to this team other than a very good mentor to Andy Pages? So I think maybe off the team is a little bit too dramatic, but the rest of that pushback, I really don't have any. And B.L. Boyd says that Teo looked horrific last night. There is no world where he should return next season. See, that's kind of more, to me, that's more what I'm thinking. Okay, so figure out a way to deal with a 3-year contract. Figure out next year. But as of this year, I don't know. We'll see. That's a little, who else are you going to replace him with? That's kind of like Dave said the other day. I see the problems, but I also live in the world of, okay, what next? What's the solution? Dave has to live in a world of solutions and not just eliminating things without a solution. Mookie has looked fantastic, says lifted great at bats and great contact, looking like Mookie again. Let the young bullpen arms, Pocket Rude Boy says, let the pups eat. Sit these older, overpaid closers down. Although I think Tanner Scott, older, I think he still has a lot in the tank. And like I said earlier, I still think the best version of this team has Tanner Scott and Blake Trinan pitching very well. Kirby Yates, I can take or leave, but I think Tanner Scott, the Dodgers really need to get him going. I think the Dodgers really need to get Blake Trinan going. Lifted, glad Scott and Trinan got it done yesterday, but I have more confidence in Robo and Dreyer. Can't push back against that. I love my babies. The Maytag and Robo, I'm not going to push back against that at all. 270 on-base percentage for Teo, says Anthony DeSantis. Not good. How do I push back? I mean, there's no pushback to that. Plus, not good defense. Plus, the hustle factor, I think, has left him up for criticism. So, really, there's not a lot of ways to defend Teo in this situation. Hey, Showtime LA just got in. Super pumped about Josue De Paula and Zaire Hope getting promoted to Tulsa. And Tulsa has a 2-game lead. And so it won't just be this week that Tulsa plays. Hopefully, as long as they don't just blow this whole week, they stay 2 games ahead of Wichita, which Wichita does have the tiebreaker because they won the game Sunday, and it's the last game you play in the series. So Tulsa does have to finish the season ahead of Wichita. But as long as they don't have a disastrous week this week, they're going to make the playoffs. Josue De Paula and Zaire Hope will be a part of that, which will be interesting because Austin mentioned all the outfield depth last night. That will be totally crazy. Anthony DeSantis, Casey is right. It's just bad optics. I don't think Pages could have caught that. Just not that type of player. Lifted, yeah, he had no chance, but optically was bad not selling out for Yama, especially in the middle of a losing streak. I will run through a wall for you. That's my brother. I'll get in the foxhole with you. I'll run through a wall for all my brothers. That element of it, I got to say, Andy, you got to go try to catch that ball. If you're going to ask me as a manager, does it help win the game? Which way helps win the game? Do what he did. But in that situation, I'm going for optics. So, hey, we have had let's go Tulsa, says Bruce Davis. So, hey, I'm going to finish this with, I am an overly optimistic person. That's fine. I have been a leader of men for a long time. And then I was also the softball coach, so leader of women too. And I've been a teacher, leader of all that. Okay. So I have learned that, not cheerleading, but, so what is optimism? Optimism is acting in a way that creates what is being positive. Being positive is acting in a way that creates positive results. Sometimes that means you have to chew ass. Like, that's why I don't have any problems with the booing last night. To me, that could be construed as positive, because what did that create? That created positive results, correct? So being positive in a leadership role just simply means that you are doing and saying what you have to do for each individual to create positive results for them. Sometimes that means you need to tap them on the back and say everything's okay, give them a hug, whatever that may be. Sometimes it means you need to get into them a little bit. You need to make them get into their feelings. You need to challenge them. Either way, it's positive, because what you're doing as a leader is you're trying to create positive results. The Dodgers fans try to create positive results with Mookie. They try to create positive results when you're booing, like to say, hey, then if you don't like the booing, then do something about it, which Tanner Scott did. Either way, you created positive results. So I am a very, very, very positive person in the sense that everything that I say is geared towards creating a positive result. And so when I say I am not going to spend any time in what's happened in the past, because I don't have to, because the Dodgers are still in first place, and I don't have to sit here like the Rockies do and say, well, because of the past, we have no future. I don't have to say that. We're still in first place. Because of that, I am going to think positively and think about the future and move forward as to what this team can become down the stretch and the possibilities for that team if it becomes that. That's my mentality. You can choose to have your own mentality. That's the mentality I'm going to set this channel with. That's the mentality that all the hosts are going to have. And that's just the mentality we're going to deal with things, because I think that's the only way. I think, to me, that's the most enjoyable experience as a fan. And that's the only way to best support the players and the team as we move forward. And again, being positive doesn't mean you're being a cheerleader. Being positive means doing and saying what you have to do to create a positive result. And the best leaders are the ones that know what those things are, right? Correct? So I'm going to leave you with that. So, hey, this has been a wonderfully fun show. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I got a lot of things to do, and I got to bounce. So thank you so much for tuning in to today's Dodgers Dawgs as part of the Dodgers Daily Network. And so tomorrow I will rejoin with Coach Holt, and then hopefully tomorrow night Austin and I will have a show together. So until then, make sure your notifications on. Thank you for tuning in to Dodgers Dawgs as part of the Dodgers Daily Network. And as always, it's a great day to be a Dodger.